So I'm going to get started right now, and I know some people are going to be popping in, but today's topic is related to social media. Now, I actually did this topic once before, but my Wi-Fi bugged out and I wasn't able to actually do a proper training for you guys. Those that were here during that time, you probably remember. So Christian actually asked me, he's like, you know what? Because I had a different topic in mind, by the way. I wanted to talk about the principles of building a network marketing business. But he's like, you know what? I would love for you, especially because we have a lot of new members, to really cover the social media topic that you were going to do. I think it was 2 months ago. That's how far back it was. But the Wi-Fi messed up and I wasn't able to actually deliver it. So here I am today. We're going to go over this topic, which is super, super important. And those of you that don't know me, my name is Rosanna. On social media, I go by Rosanna Rose. And let me tell you one thing. Those of you that are new to the social media space, I know at first it can seem intimidating, but we were all there. People like, I know Tilia has a big team, Megan, Christian, Hiba, Noor, myself, and all the other leaders in GCC and Champions. They all started at some point just like you, with zero, like nothing, no idea what they were doing, a lot of trial and error. But that's the beauty about this community. Of course, every Saturday we have these builder calls and we have different leaders show up talking about, let's say, networking, sales, or branding, social media, business building, a lot of key things, a lot of key ingredients that you're gonna need for your success here. So who's ready for this training? Let's see some readies in the chat. Who's ready? Awesome, awesome. And I know a lot of you weren't here on the call where the training bugged out and like I just could not do it at all. So yeah, you're definitely gonna love this one here. So just a bit of a background. With social media, okay, the TikTok and IG, I started completely from scratch, like zero. TikTok, I started from zero. I didn't have a following. I wasn't really using it. Like some other people use it just to post randomly here and there. Instagram, I started from scratch. I created a new account, which, by the way, those of you that have a personal account that you can use, I definitely recommend using your personal account. That's the only thing I wish I did differently, was using my personal account just straight to start the business versus creating a new one. But creating a new one did challenge me to stay consistent, to try to figure things out, how to build. So that's the only thing. But the reason why I always emphasize the importance of social media, but not just social media, not just posting, because it's more than just posting 3 times a day, 2 times a day. It really is about branding and how you show up on social media, because how you show up on social media reflects to how you show up in person. And no one is saying you have to be like this perfect cookie cutter, professional, you know, suit and tie type of thing, but you need to stand for something. Like you need to, when people think of your name, they need to think of something, like something needs to click in their minds. And the reason why this is important is because, and from my personal experience too, and just from what I've witnessed with my journey here, is having a viral video is good. Having a viral video is good because it gives you that extra boost. But if you're only depending on viral videos for exposure, to connect with people, then you're going to burn yourself out and you're going to stress yourself out. And I purposely experimented, you know, connecting with people without a viral video. And because my brand is in a good place, a lot of people they trust me. I hardly ever have people leaving me on red. There are some people, of course, that maybe just don't see my message because, you know, in IG especially, it just goes to the request section. I mean, it's happened to me. I've had people message me and I had no idea. But in general, if I reach out to a follower on Instagram, they respond back. And there's that trust already because my brand is a certain way. And when I show up on my stories, it's a certain way. On my TikTok and Instagram, the way I show up matches. It's not like on TikTok, I show up a certain way, and Instagram is completely different. And that's the key thing, because as great as it is to have, let's say, signups from viral videos, if you're only getting signup from viral videos, then you know you need to work on your brand. And if you're not connecting with people, and if you're reaching out to people and they're not responsive without a viral video, then you know you need to work on your brand. So that's what I'm going to do. And branding is more about the look. It's about the personality. It has a lot to do with your personality and how you show your personality online. Some of you might think like, oh, but I'm an introvert, I'm a little shy. Well, guess what? I started off exactly the same. I was freaking out on my first live. On my first live that I did on TikTok, I was freaking out. And I always tell the story where I had my phone in front of me and it literally took me probably 20 minutes to actually press the live button. Like, that's how bad it was, because I was freaking out thinking, oh, what if nobody shows up, or what if they're mean, or what if I don't know how to say? But at the end of the day, you need to push yourself to do it, because how do you expect to grow if you're not doing the actions to grow and develop? It's like driving. How do you expect to be a good driver if you're not actually going behind the wheel? It's not going to happen. So I'm going to get started with this training. So get your notes ready. Take your notes, whether it's on your phone, your iPad, a notebook. I love taking notes on a notebook, by the way. I don't know if it's like old school, but something about just writing it out helps me remember more, and just when I see it. So let's get this going. All right. Who's new here? By the way, I want to see in the chat, who's been here for like under a month? I wanna get a sense of Huda. Okay. Sean, Courtney. Cool. Well, welcome to the Champions community. I mean, yes, we are partnered with iGenius, but our team is called Champions, and we call ourselves Champions for a reason, because our mindset is a winning mindset. We're here to win, right? So obviously, we're gonna call each other our group Champions. All right, so let me pull this up for you guys. I feel like I haven't done a builders training in a while. And usually I go to the office because I trust the Wi-Fi there, but you know what? The Wi-Fi has been pretty good to me at home lately. So I figured, you know, I like my setup, my background, so why not do it here? Okay. Let me see a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Perfect. All right, let's get this started. So the topic, how to create a powerful brand. Of course, that's what we want to do. And I'm going to dive right into it just because I already gave you somewhat of an introduction. So what is a personal brand? Of course, a personal brand is how the public sees you. If I were to go on one of your pages, let's say I don't know you. If I were to go on your Instagram, then I could kind of, just from what I see, figure out, okay, what's this guy or girl representing? Like, what are they about? It's how others associate, like what they associate with you. So it's not necessarily how you see yourself. And a lot of times when we get started in the social media space, we get stuck on like how we want to portray, like, how do we see ourselves? We think the audience, our followers, see us that way, but really they don't. They see us based on what we show. And it's like that saying of first impressions counts. As an example, if you have a viral TikTok and then someone goes on your Instagram and there's like nothing there, nothing for them to look at, nothing there for them to learn and gain some value, or even just learn more about you, then in their mind is like, okay, is this person even real? Are they actually valuable? Do I even want to connect with them? So that's why it's important for things to match. Now, who knows who these three people are? Who's this woman? I want to see names in the chat. I know one of them is kind of controversial, but I put him there on purpose. So let's look at this chat right here. Who are these people? Why can't I see the chat? Okay, well, I can't see it right now for some reason, but it's what's her name? Kris Jenner. She is like the queen of branding. And you know, she has her daughters, of course, and I think the son, I forget his name. I don't follow the Kardashians. I've never watched an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, so I'm not too familiar with how that goes. But she is the queen. She's behind a lot of their success. She's like, I would say almost like their manager, momager, however you want to call it. But she is known for that. And she even has a course or something that she's doing. Now, who knows who this guy is? This guy here. Him and his brother are pretty well known. I want to see the chat. Why can't I see it? Okay, perfect. Yes. Perfect. Logan Paul. Now, who's this dude right here with the sunglasses and the black shirt and that look? Tate, Andrew Tate, yeah. Vin Diesel, Edwin, come on. A lot of you knew who Logan and Andrew Tate were. Now, why is that? I mean, their branding, of course, is super up there, but it goes beyond their branding. It's their personality, how they show up, how they speak, the way they walk, the way they just do everything. Rosanna, yeah, trying to describe him. Look, I've seen this guy show up on my For You page a lot, which I'm sure you guys have seen. So much so that that song, whatever that song is literally his theme song. And whenever you hear that song, you guys know what I'm talking about, you think of Andrew Tate. Like, that's how good his branding is, and how like he, of course it's his affiliates, right? But these are big names in social media and on the internet right now, just in general in the public space. And it's because they have an effective brand behind them. So again, branding, and I see some of you got excited. The guys here got excited because Andrew Tate's on the screen. I see you guys. Okay. All right. So branding, of course, you're making a conscious effort to be consistent in your marketing, communicating, the way you position yourself. You want it to be effective to the public and to be the same on all your social media platforms. Of course, depending on the social media platform you use, Twitter is a bit different, IG, Facebook, TikTok, even LinkedIn, YouTube, they all share media in different ways, but you can still have a consistent presence and consistent brand on them. So, hold on. Okay. So how do you do this? I was going to show you some examples of my page, the way how it was before versus now. But maybe I'll drop it in the chat after. I don't want, everything's going good right now, that I don't want the Wi-Fi to bug out or anything. So I'm just going to stick to this because this is very, very key. So again, I want to focus on personalities of branding, because branding, of course, I've said it before, many of you've probably heard it. You know, branding has to do with, of course, your pictures, you know, good quality pictures, your videos, the type of value you're presenting, how you show up on your Instagram stories, what you're showing, your lifestyle, your business, your niche, all that is a part of a brand. What brand, like, how are you building your brand? But behind all that, behind the videos, the pictures, the niche, everything is your personality. Because, for example, let's just say Kiki and, who can I say? Kiki and Michelle. Both of you are partnered with iGenius, okay? And let's say both of you post the same type of reel or TikTok, because we know a lot of people use inspiration from the team and they post the same type of content. If I were to go on your pages, Okay, you guys maybe have, let's just say the aesthetic on your page is similar. Let's just say it's similar. Let's say your videos are similar, your pictures. Let's say both of you have good quality pictures. So let's just say your content is really good, your page is perfect. But now what's going to make me decide who I want to work with, who I want to reach out to? So that's where I look into your personality. Whose personality do I like the most? Or whose can I relate with the most? Or who is most similar to mine? So let's say I go on Kiki's page, and on her IG stories, she's very funny. You know, she has a good sense of humor. She's energetic, and she's just a ray of sunshine. And let's just say I go on Michelle's page, and she's more like, she has a sense of humor, but she's more on the conservative side. Maybe she isn't as loud. She's more soft-spoken, which some people connect to and they love that. But let's say I connect more with Kiki because she just has this loud personality. I'll be like, okay, I like both their content, but Kiki's my girl. And I'm going to message her. Like, I like her energy. She's loud, energetic. I'm going to message her. So that's why personality in your brand is super, super key. And there's 12 brand archetypes that have to do with your personality. And as I go through these 12, you'll identify which one is you. And I even gave just one example, one or two examples, so you can resonate and just take it in better and understand what I mean with these archetypes. But there's 12 brand archetypes that I really want you to take into consideration when you're thinking of how to put together your content and how to show up on social media, because each of you has a different type of personality, and we see it in the chats all the time. I see who's the person that's very like motivational, inspirational. You know, Huda is really good at that. You know, she's always dropping her quotes and motivational stuff in the morning. And like, as soon as you wake up, you look at that, it's like, that's amazing. And then there's others that share maybe more of like a fun side to them, maybe funny GIFs or videos, you know, just to lighten up the chat. Everyone has their own personality, and you really need to make sure that it shines through your brand and through your content. So let's start with the first one. Oh, and before I get started, sorry, the one thing I forgot to say, a lot of big brands actually use these archetypes with them. And by big brands, I mean brands like, let's say even BMW, Mercedes, Nike, all these big brands use these to reflect what they represent. And that's why a lot of people fall in love with them. And a lot of people are so loyal with these brands. And it even applies to personalities, influencers, public figures. Each of them has their specific brand archetype attached to them. And that's why, whether you realize it or not, you are so loyal to this person. Why are people so loyal or so into Andrew Tate? I know not every, look, love him or hate him. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of people like him. I'm on neither side, by the way, but we have to recognize, like, why do people like him? Why do people like Andrew Tate? I want to see some answers in the chat. And just because you put an answer, I'm not going to assume you like him, but just acknowledge why people like him. I feel like people are scared to answer this. Because I really want you to really dig deep. Why do people like Andrew Tate? Why do so many guys identify with him? Let me take a look here. Blunt person, honest, mainstream. He says things others are afraid to. Great hair advice, okay. Speaks the truth that a lot of people are afraid to face. He is unafraid to be authentically himself. Yes, a lot of that is true. A lot of that is true. Went from rags to riches. How many of you agree that he has a very strong personality? like a very, very strong personality. Yeah. That's part of that. That's an archetype, by the way, and that's part of his brand. And a lot of guys identify with that. And a lot of guys that maybe have insecurities or maybe aren't so outspoken, or they feel certain ways, but they feel like they can't express it, they see themselves in him. And as many of you said, he's not scared to express himself certain ways, to say certain things. And not just him, there's a lot of people in social media, in the public figure space, that represent the same. But he's definitely right now one of the better known ones. Now, can I just get a thumbs up if you can still see my screen? Perfect. All right, so let's get to the first archetype. And speaking of Tate, I feel like he represents this one really well. So the first archetype, the first personality, is the outlaw, which is more so rules are made to be broken type of thing. They're very rebellious, combative. And the key thing to this is you don't have to settle to the status quo. And if you know his content, he doesn't just talk about money, business, girls. He talks a lot about, you know, the Matrix and stuff related to government. And if you've seen those type of things, like, he digs deep into that. So I feel like this is a good representation. After I looked at all the other ones, by the way, looking at all the there's another one that he might come very close to, which I will say. But this is the type of personality, if you've seen people on social media, or even if you know people in your life that are like this, they're very rebellious, super rebellious, and they don't like to conform to the status quo. They like revolution, like they like to do something to change it, or maybe just go against it. Like, they don't want to conform to that. And they're very open about it. So that's what the outlaw is. Now, some of you might relate to this, but as we go through the others, you'll see which one which one really identifies with you. And I'm going to go through these quickly because really there isn't much to say. It's just more so how you know which personality type or which archetype is you. And at the bottom is just some examples of big brands and companies that reflect this in their branding. And once you see it, it'll make sense. So that's why I'm saying a lot of big brands and companies use these behind their brands. And that's why they present themselves a certain way. And that's why you might actually feel connected to these brands and companies, and you might not even know it. The next one is the magician. So this one has the mindset or the attitude or the personality of it can happen. They're very mystical, informed, reassuring, and thinking of like tomorrow is brighter than today, and all your dreams can come true if you believe they can. So this is the person that you see, whether it's on social media or someone you know, that's very motivational, inspirational. So you see a lot of content creators that do that. They're very, like, you know, high spirit, motivational, inspirational, very magical, whimsical, like, and they create content like that. Their content reflects it. And that's how they brand themselves. And people that like that and identify with that, they connect with them, they love them. And again, this is just personality and archetypes. And you'll see at the end how you can apply it to like your content, your posts and all that. But I really want you to understand, some of you might identify with this. And it's interesting because I was going through these archetypes. I actually thought of like, oh, this person's on the team is similar to this. I won't say the names, but I had some thoughts in my head of like, I can definitely see this person using this behind their branding to really connect with other people. Now, the hero automatically, when I was going through this, I'm like, you know what? Gary Vee is exactly like this. Those of you that know who Gary Vee is. So their mantra or whatever is like, where there's a will, there's a way. They're very honest, candid, and brave. And more so, we can make the world better. We have the gift and determination to outwork the rest. And Gary Vee is very similar to this. And a lot of his talks when it comes to social media, entrepreneurship, he's very direct, non-sugarcoating. And this is exactly, you know, his personality type again. And that's how he shows up with his brands, whether it's interviews, podcasts, content, value that he's sharing. This is a reflection of him and his personality, his archetype. Some of you, again, might relate to this, but really, really pay attention. Each and every single archetype I'm going through, I want you to really pay attention, because at the end of this training, you should have identified which one is you. And I want to challenge you guys, like once you've identified which one matches you, to really use that in your branding and in your content. Now, the lover is more so like, I only have eyes for you. They're very sensual, empathetic, soothing. I would say this is the type of person that romanticizes things. How many of you have seen on TikTok or even Instagram people that romanticize their jobs or their professions? Like I've seen a lot of people, I've seen a few people on my TikTok that work in, like they're either, what are they? They work in finance or they work a corporate job, but they're romanticizing their life, their day-to-day. And you see like their day-to-day vlogs, and it's so aesthetic and everything looks so perfect and pretty, like they romanticize their life. And some people identify with this and they like it. And I've seen people even do this with what we do here with our content. I've seen people incorporate that into their content. Now, if this is something that you like to do, then definitely show it more. Some people get stuck on how to present their day-to-day, behind the scenes, what content to post. I know a lot of times we try to copy what works for others, but do what works for you and use others' content as inspiration of what content you can put up there, but make sure your content reflects who you are. So if you're the type of person that likes to romanticize your life, some people like it. There definitely is a way to romanticize crypto, 100%. If you really get creative with it, absolutely. Now this one is the gesture, okay. And this one is a fun-loving, playful, optimistic person. And those of you who know who James Charles is, I thought of James Charles when I read this. And those of you that know Fraser Brooks, he's a top trainer in the network marketing industry. He actually is very, very focused on social media. I thought of him too. So I really put those two names. Those of you that know him, you'll be like, wow, like this is exactly them. Like very fun, loving, playful. James Charles, you know, always smiling and, you know, being himself, but also with like a fun, loving attitude and super playful, super, you can see it in his content, his YouTube, his TikToks, Instagram, and then Fraser Brooks, those of you that know who he is. Which, by the way, if he actually shows up on GoPro, I know he's been on GoPro a few times, but those of you that have your GoPro tickets, if he's there, you'll see him and you'll know what I mean. Like he's very playful too with how he trains, very, very energetic. Now the everyman, I would say this is, they say friendly, humble, authentic. You're just like me and I'm just like you type of attitude. So I picture this more so people that have like a softer energy. Like I know there's, I think, what is it called? Like the girl soft girl energy or something that's popular right now. A lot of people that are creating content around that, where everything's just so peaceful and just friendly and humble and not too showy, not too flashy, just very like grounded and authentic, like that soft girl. And I've seen guys do it too. So that's this type of person. And if that's what you like, then you're this category. The next one is the caregiver. This person is caring, warm, reassuring. Many of you probably have people in your life that are like this, or you've seen people on social media incorporate this into their content. Love your neighbor as yourself. So very that type of person. So I think of like a philanthropist, people that are doing community work, people that are always giving back, people that are just very in tune with just, you know, caring for others. And I've seen people do this in their content. So if you're that type of person, if this is you, then definitely show it more in your content. Sometimes it could be a bit challenging showing it on like TikToks or Reels, but hey, you can definitely highlight this on your Instagram stories when you do lives. Like there's so many ways to incorporate this where people see you as this, and people that actually like this and identify with this will be attracted to you, connect with you, and be loyal to you because they can resonate. Now the ruler, I put two names as well for those of you that know who these people are. The ruler is someone where power isn't everything, it's the only thing. They're commanding, refined, and articulate. And no surprise, the brands that they put at the bottom are these ones right here, because they are reflecting this archetype. And those of you who know Suits, Harvey Specter, of course, is a character in Suits, but he represents this perfectly. Perfectly, like he's just that, like, you know, his personality is so much like that, very commanding, refined, but he's also articulate. The way he dresses, the way he carries himself, it matches this perfectly. And then there's a lot of personalities, like public figures out there that reflect this as well. You probably know people in your life. If this is something you're into, definitely reflect it in your content, 100%. If you're the type of person that likes refined things, look, you don't have to go to a fancy restaurant every weekend. You don't have to be buying designer and brand name to show this in yourself. It's more so of how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you walk, even how your content looks can really reflect this archetype. Those of you that know who Yasin Tarabia is, if you really want to see what I mean, he's on TikTok and he represents this perfectly. And if you don't know who he is, definitely write that name down and look him up on TikTok and you'll see exactly what I mean. Because his content is very like motivational, inspirational, also very direct and aimed towards a male audience. But the way he shows up in his content is exactly this. Now, the creator is, you know, all about innovation. And if it can be imagined, it can be creative. So they're very creative and daring, provocative. Of course, these brands here, of course, Apple is here. You know, they always say Apple may not be the best phone, but the way they market, the way they promote themselves, their branding, they're always so innovative, always, you know, setting the tone for everyone. And that's why a lot of people like Apple and they like iPhones and even their products. So no surprise they're here. But in terms of how people, you can think of photographers, fashion designers, makeup artists, content creators that are very creative with what the type of content they put on social media. And even though like you'll see them, the type of events they go to, how they present themselves. There's a lot of people that, have you ever met someone that's very, very loud with the way they dress, but they're just very creative? Like they would wear an outfit that maybe you would be like, oh, I could never wear that, but it works for them because it's just their personality. Their personality, they can make it work. And that's the creator. So if this is you, definitely take note because it means you have to show more of that in your content. Now, the innocent one, the innocent archetype, okay, is more about safety, optimistic, honest, humble. This one here, I think of those health and wellness people that do like their daily routines. They're making their bed, they're ironing their bed sheets, they're lighting the candle, all that. Like, I'm sure many of you have seen that. I've seen guys and girls do that type of content, but this is what I think of. They have like that perfect routine. Their not morning routine, their night routine, they're waking out of bed, all aesthetic, all perfect. You know, that's what I think of. And it's no surprise that these brands here are listed in this category too, because that's exactly what they represent. So who's actually identifying right now, which archetypes? Like who, as I'm going through these, who has an idea or who's identified one already for them? Can you relate to some? Is this helpful? Because I feel like even before I found out about the archetypes, as soon as I started looking at these and it really broke it down, I'm like, wow, like I actually see this in a lot of people and brands, and I can actually identify which one is me and how I can start incorporating it more in my content. Now the sage, this one is, you know, the truth will set you free. type of mindset. They're assured, guiding, and knowledgeable. So this is the person, I put conspiracy theorists in this category because they're always, you know, talking about that stuff, educational, no surprise, Google, BBC, Oxford is in this category, of course. But when it comes to people or even yourselves, people that like educational stuff, educational content, spirituality, a lot of people that talk about things related to spirit. I came across a lot of influencers on TikTok or just content creators that talk about spirituality, that talk about, you know, the zodiacs and even the, what do you call those stones? You know, like rose quartz and all. I'm not too into that. I like it, but I'm not too into, but they talk about what each one means and manifestation and all that. So these are those type of people. You have like those, and then you have like the conspiracy theorists and educational ones. So people that fall into this category create content around this. Like they just love it and it stays true to their brand, and people that relate to this and like this, guess what? They're going to be drawn to that. And now there's the explorer. The explorer is all about freedom. They're exciting, fearless, and daring. So I would say adventurous, like travel influencers, people that you see traveling all the time, people that, let's say, show a lot of outdoor activities. If you're someone that likes to go hiking, skiing, like very adventurous, definitely incorporate that in your content. Show that as your personality on your IG stories, on your social media, any way you can incorporate it, definitely do so. Because people that like this type of person, people that are like this will identify with you. Because again, you and someone else on the team might pop up on someone's For You page. Because essentially there's a lot of us, there's hundreds of us, not just in Champions, but just in GC in general, in iGenius in general, there's so many of us. So if someone falls on your For You, if you fall on someone's For You page and then they see someone else or like 5 other people, what's going to make them want to connect with you? So that's where your personality comes in. Because if all of you are posting the exact same content, the exact same text, the exact same everything, then you all look like clones and no one's going to really know who to connect with if you're not showing your personalities. So that's why it's very, very key. Now, the benefits of archetypes, those were the 12 archetypes, by the way. Now, the benefits of archetypes, of course, it speeds up your personal branding. It's a guide on how to communicate, and it helps you connect with your audience on a deeper level and resonate with your audience, because obviously your audience falls into these categories as well. And it's more so you want to build a community. You want to build a community on your page. Why do people like Andrew Tate so much? Because he's outspoken. As soon as he walks in a room, he's super confident. He's very direct, and people that identify with that, they're so loyal to him. Why are people why are girls into Kim Kardashian or even other big influencers or public figures? Because they represent something that they like, something that they identify with. And no matter what they come out with, these girls are buying whatever they sell. It could be Skims, it could be makeup, it could be anything. And they're buying it because they love this person. Just like Mr. Beast, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, Andrew Tate, all these people will buy what they sell. Who's the one that came out with that drink? Is it Logan Paul and KSI? Correct me if I'm wrong. That came out with that Prime drink. So a lot of people that are fans of them, those drinks like sold out. And why? Maybe they weren't they don't even care if it's good or not. They just want to buy it because the people behind it are big figures that they love and they identify with. I remember I tried one. It was good. Okay, it was good. But even me seeing it, it's like, I want to buy it just because it's, you know, that it's them. So even people like us, like we fall into that. And I'm sure many of you have purchased things just because it was somebody's product, whether it's a person or a company. I mean, you guys buy iPhones because it's iPhone, it's Apple. There could be a way better phone out there, but because iPhone and Apple is popular, it's considered, you know, the best of the best, you fall into that. So to you, it's no question. Anything that Apple comes up with must be better. So now connection and differentiation. So most brands today are competing on features, benefits, and price. And this is true. A lot of people focus on features of a product or a service, benefits, price, and they disregard the branding side of it. So you will need to make a deeper connection with your audience if you don't want your brand to just be a commodity. Like if you don't want something to be like disposable, something where someone could just like toss it to the side, you want people to be loyal. Now, at the end of the day, we're partnered with iGenius, but at the same time, people will connect with you and join you for you, not necessarily for the product. Yeah, people are interested or connect with you because of the value or the message behind the product or service that we're partnered with. But at the end of the day, why do they join you? Is because they like you, they trust you, they want to be like you. There's something about you that they identify with. So differentiation, when it comes to standing out in a crowd, it's like you really want your personality to shine. And there's infinite personalities, but one of these archetypes that I mentioned earlier, each of you will identify with one. And maybe you'll think of like, oh, I'm probably one like this one and that one, but there's only one that you will like truly, truly be aligned with. And again, you want to differentiate yourself from other people. And that's the key thing of diving deep into this. I feel like branding and social media is like a science. You really want to dissect all the information so you can do things properly and effectively. Now, the 3x3 method, by the way, this is very important. Okay, so 3 of your values plus 3 of your content pillars. Who knows what a content pillar is? Some of you, I'm sure you've heard of content pillars. I've spoken about it before. I don't remember if it was a builders I did last time or the social media boot camp we had that Christian organized. I don't remember, but I did speak about it once. So 3 values. 3 values come from the archetypes. So if you wrote down the archetypes, you see the values behind each archetype. And those values are the values that you have. And that's why you identify with that archetype or that personality type. So let's just say the one that you are, you're high value, you like transparency, and you're high energy. So let's say these are the ones you identify with. So how can you incorporate that now? Let's just say your content pillars, what you're focusing on. By the way, those of you that don't know what content pillars are, content pillar is basically like a category of type of content you're putting out there, which all of you have or you should have. And it just makes posting content a lot easier, the marketing side. So let's just say your content pillars, the type of content you're posting is social media, coaching, and entrepreneurship. So any TikTok, any reel you're posting falls into social media, coaching, or entrepreneurship. That's what you're sharing. So you have these values reflected in these pillars. So you want to combine your values with your pillars. So a reminder of what you need to be consistent in by doing this. If you really break it down like this, where you have your 3 values, 3 pillars, then you know, okay, what do you need to be consistent in? You show your values with your pillars. And the more consistent you are with these, the more your audience will be on the same page. The more you will attract people that align with your values and your beliefs, and the easier it will be to connect. If you're someone that likes music, then show that, because I'm sure there's a lot of other people in music that want to do this stuff, but they don't see anyone else in music doing it. So if you're in the music scene, if you're an artist, then show that in your content. And there's so many different creative ways that you can make content around that, but it really helps. If you're into fitness, if you're a personal trainer, you can literally share videos of you working out in the gym with like a motivational text on that, or something educational or value with the video of you just working out, because people will connect with that. And people in fitness will be like, oh, this guy or girl in fitness, they're talking about crypto, but they're also like a personal trainer or fitness person. Oh, cool. I wanted to get into crypto. So I see this guy or girl doing it. Let me connect with them. And that's why it's so important to show that. So that being said, let's do this. Okay, let me see some of your comments here because I wasn't able to see these comments when I was sharing screen. Thanks to Megan, content pillars. Look, I hear her say content pillars all the time. I'm like, am I listening to myself? Because I remember when I was first talking about it, it really made a difference with me, by the way, and anyone that I shared it to. And I did a training on it, I believe, very briefly though. It was a while ago, but it's very, very helpful if you break it down that way with the content pillars. So that being said, I'm not going to go too much into content pillars. The focus was the archetypes, the 12 archetypes that will really help you with your brand and your social media and really identify what type of personality you are. So again, I want to see, do you know, I want to see for a sec. And if you guys are willing to share, which I hope you are, can you identify which archetype you are? I want to see it in the chat. I'm very curious. I'm very curious to see. If you wrote them down, I want you to look at them. And I hope you wrote like a check mark or you highlight it or something so you remember that's your archetype. Sage. Edwin is definitely Sage. He's definitely Sage. Those of you that know. Magician. Everyman. The outlaw. Attilia's the outlaw, eh? Sage. Cool. This is really cool. And I really hope you guys take this in. If you didn't identify which one you're just yet, definitely take the time to look through the list, go through it slowly, look at the personality traits, the belief of this archetype, what they stand by, their mantra, or whatever you want to call it. And it'll make your job a lot easier when it comes to what content you have to post, how you need to show up on social media, on your IG stories, even in person. You know, show it more. Definitely show it more because you will attract your type of people and it'll be so much easier to have conversations. I've done this myself and it's worked so well for me. That's why when I show up on my IG stories, I show up a certain way because that's just who I am. I'm not going to try to be someone else just because it works for them. I'm going to try to copy or just because, you know, there's a lot of trending videos. A lot of times we do use other people's videos as inspiration. We copy or whatever the case is. It's fine, you know, obviously when you're trying to build your brand, but also make sure you don't lose sight of who you are and always add something there that's you. Always spice it up. Never copy like exactly, because then people, the wrong type of people will start following you. And then that's why you'll feel like it's harder to connect and you message people and they don't respond or they leave you on red or whatever the case is. But that being said, that's the training for today. Luckily, no Wi-Fi issues. So, you know, excited. I'm going to give myself a round of applause for that because the Wi-Fi was on my side today. Hope you guys got a lot of value from this and identified your archetype. And I cannot wait to see you guys apply these archetypes in your content, but also in the chats. And I want you guys to be aware now, whoever you know, presents themselves a certain way in the chat, you're going to be aware of who's what archetype. So that being said, have an amazing Saturday. Those of you that got GoPro tickets, I'm so excited. GoPro is going to be an amazing experience. And don't forget, tomorrow we have our Rich call. And I'll see you guys in the chats. Happy Saturday, everyone.